Hello and welcome to Video Club Reviews. Today we are reviewing Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters Afterlife came out just this year at the end of 2021, and it has just become available on streaming. The tagline is that when a single mom and her two kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy that their grandfather left behind. This was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of the original director and writer Ivan Reitman, and it stars Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, Paul Rudd, McKenna Grace. So as always, we will start with some spoiler-free reviews before we move on to spoiler territory. So, Rob, you want to go first?
I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It's a fun ride if you're a fan of the original one. There's a lot that can kind of pull you in, so you still have a little bit of nostalgia feeling. But if you're brand new and you haven't seen it before, I think you'll enjoy this quite a bit. It keeps reminding me, the music kind of brings me back to the old one. So I liked it a lot. I like the little I'm blanking on her name. The
McKenna Grace
is a lot of fun. Her character is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, arguably the lead in the movie, I would say.
Yeah, I really did enjoy her character.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. And then Paul Rudd's in it, who's always funny. And the podcast that his character made me laugh out loud a couple times. So I mean, definitely, I would say this is definitely worth watch. It's a worthwhile watch.
Jody?
Same as Rob. I enjoyed it. Maybe not as much, but it was a really interesting storyline overall. McKenna Grace was a huge highlight, and yeah, the kid that played a podcast. I don't know.
Logan Kim.
Logan Kim, right?
Yeah.
He was the best part for me. And then, yeah, McKenna Grace and Paul Rudd kind of playing off each other was really great, too. It was enjoyable, especially if you're a huge fan of Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say that if you're a big fan of the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2, the ones back in the 80s, it has a lot of callbacks to that in terms of like the sounds and the music, and it definitely has that nostalgic feel. There are times where the nostalgia factor and the callbacks to the original are almost too much. It definitely straddles that line between like enough to be nostalgic and maybe too much and becoming almost like a recycling or rehashing of the original. So there's a bit of that going on. But overall, it's been enough time now. I mean, from when the original came out till now, it's been almost 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that to put it in context. So, I mean, they're arguably targeting a completely new audience for the most part, I think. There's going to be, and they're smart because they're going to get parents who are going to take their kids to see it, who are the same age as we were when we saw it as kids. So I looked at it from the perspective of a family movie. Older kids, for sure. It's definitely got some scary moments in it. There's ghosts and monsters, and there's some jump scares as well. My 6-year-old was a little bit too scared of it and didn't want to keep watching it. But my 9-year-old loved it a lot. He really liked it and wanted to see it again, like 2 days later. So it was one of those movies that he wants to see right away a second time. So he really liked it. I think just had enough scares to get his blood going in the right way and get his adrenaline going. The acting was really good. It was shot really well. And I think it captured the spirit of the original movies really, really well. Like the humor and just everything about it. It very much captured that original feel. I rewatched the originals within the last probably 2 months, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, with my kids. And it definitely felt very much along the same lines, unlike the remake they made a few years ago. That was a complete failure to capture what made Ghostbusters really good. But yeah, I would say the only critique I have of it is just that maybe there's a little bit too much rehashing of reused or things they've already done, just kind of leaning into it maybe too hard. But I mean, arguably it has been 40 years, so it was pretty close to the right amount of nostalgia, but there's maybe a couple times
a little heavy-handed.
It stepped over the line a couple of times. But overall, I really enjoyed it as well. So what do you guys give it out of 10?
Okay. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10, and for some of the same reasons you said. I wasn't going to touch that until this point. Like the music and the sound, if they had made it like maybe 3 or 4 times where the music came in at specific spots, then I think that would have been felt a lot better for the nostalgia factor. But it was, like you said, and like Timothy said, it was too heavy-handed, and that kind of made me feel like, okay, I get it. You're tying it to the old one.
I really
but
like
it's-
that. I like the sound callbacks a lot. Actually, that's the one thing I really liked was all the sounds and music.
I just thought it was just a little less. If you backed off on a little less, it would make those moments when it did come up a little bit more feeling to it. But other than that, yeah, 6.5 out of 10. It's good. It's fun.
I would say like immediately after watching it, I was probably closer to a 5 out of 10. But like after reflecting on it, probably a 6 out of 10. I could even be convinced like 7 out of 10. For all the reasons that we've talked about. It was just like really interesting story. Like I really enjoyed the first half. Some of the characters were kind of like useless. And we'll talk about that later. But the second half was just kind of too much leaning in. So yeah.
It had like a nice little mystery to it and didn't hit you over the head with it too hard in the beginning as to what was going on. So I actually saw it twice. I saw it in the theater when it first came out, and then I watched it again last week in preparation for this. And I give it a 7 out of 10 myself. Maybe 7.5. I really liked it. I thought it was good. It definitely captured that spirit, like I said. And yeah, I would recommend it to anybody. And that if you like the originals, definitely for sure. And don't be scared off by the remake they made in 26. That it destroys that completely, blows it out of the water. So and they've set themselves up nicely to kind of reboot the franchise. Possibly, like they left room to keep going with more movies, and it would be okay. Like I would be good with another movie now. I would hope if they make another one, it's completely new and no, like you can have the same sounds and music, sure, but I mean like a new storyline with new characters and villains and all that. Yeah, exactly. Like have McKenna Grace and Finn Wolfhard in it still, sure. So that being said, the next thing here I've got is the Rotten Tomatoes game that I'm going to play with you guys. So I've taken 5 movies that are related to Ghostbusters Afterlife, but they are not Ghostbusters Afterlife. And you guys are going to have to guess what their Rotten Tomatoes critical score is. This is not the audience score. This is the critic score. A score of 0 to 100. For every point you are off, you get a point. And if you are directly on the nose, you get -5 points. The goal here is to get the lowest point total as possible. So for example, if the movie scored an 80 and you guess a 90, you get 10 points. If the movie scored an 80, you guess 70, you get 10 points. So you're going for the closest to the score. Going over does not matter. So the first movie is the first movie here,
like up here, so you know,
1984 by Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters 1. This is the critics' score of Ghostbusters 1, the original.
The critics' score.
This is the critics' score, not the audience score. Yep.
Okay. We'll let Tiffany go first.
Oh, you're going to go first.
Oh, and also a slight rule change here as well. So instead of we switch back and forth to who goes first, whoever's in the lead has to go first.
Oh, okay.
So who goes first now?
I'll say Rob goes first this time, and next time Tiffany can go first.
Okay. I was gonna say
Ghostbusters 1.
76.
76. Tiffany, what do you think?
I think 87.
87. All right, and the critic score of the first Ghostbusters was 97.
Wow.
So Rob is 21 points off. Tiffany is 10 points off.
I definitely thought I was going to guess too high. I was like, Rob's going to get this.
So the next movie also tied in because it was Ivan Reitman. This is Ghostbusters 2. Surprise, surprise. The original Ghostbusters 2 with Ivan the Conqueror? Drago? Yeah. What was the bad guy's name? Drago?
Vigo.
Thank you. Vigo. So this is, again, the critic score of Ghostbusters 2, where they bring the Statue of Liberty to life and use it to enter the museum. I believe based on the power of song and happy thoughts.
Positive energy. Yeah, there was a song that they played through Ghetto Blasters. And I think Tiffany has to go because she's in the lead.
Tiffany is in the lead, so you get to go first. Yep.
I think 89.
89. And Rob, so you're aware there's an 11-point deficit between you and Tiffany with her guess of 89.
Yeah. I'm going to go, 65.
The critic score on Ghostbusters 2 was 53. So that one had a big jump. So Rob, you are...
I recognize that movie's not great, but I personally love it.
You may have been...
nostalgia factor is very high, so...
Just looking at it with rose-colored glasses there.
Yeah, for sure. So Tiffany got 36 points there, and Rob got 12 points. So Tiffany, you're now sitting at 46 total. Rob, you were sitting at 33 total.
The lead.
So the next movie was also directed by Ivan Reitman. It is the fantastic movie Kindergarten Cop.
Put the cookie down.
Who's your daddy, and what does he do?
I'm a cop, damn it.
Kindergarten Cop. So Rob's going first this time.
Clearly, we're all fans of this movie.
It's the best movie.
Great movie.
God, I never thought in my life I'd be having to try to guess the critic score of Kindergarten Cop. I'm gonna say it's 43.
43. Tiffany, what do you think? Keeping in mind you are 13 points off of Rob's.
Do the math in
I'm
your
just
head.
going to go by the gut, though. There's no strategy here. I looked up this movie a while ago to see like what streaming platform it was on, and I feel like I saw the score. I have no idea
You're
what it was, but in my mind, I was
cheating.
like, "No, that's not cheating."
I mean,
I didn't look it up now. In my mind, I was like shocked at how low the score was because I think that movie is 99%. I'm going to guess 27%.
oh wow.
All right. So the critic score of Kindergarten Cop was 51. So Rob, you are 8 off, and Tiffany, you are more than that.
This is a dumb game.
This is a dumb game.
Dumb game for jerks.
All right. So the next movie, getting a little bit more modern now. Okay. So this was a movie directed by Jason Reitman. So Ivan Reitman's son, the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife. This was Juno, starring Elliot Page and Michael Cera.
Yeah.
So
And
since
Rainn Wilson is in it.
and Rainn Wilson was in it, correct.
Silencio,
since
old man.
Rob is in the lead, you get to go first again.
I'm gonna guess 86%.
Tiffany, you are up next.
I think it's higher
Wide
than
margin
that.
to conquer here.
I'm shut up. I'm going to guess 94.
Ooh.
The answer is 94. Tiffany hits it
fuck, right
right
off.
in the head with a
Rob, I
negative
needed
5
this.
points
I
to the
needed this.
total. So Rob's
What?
new total is
Rob's still beating me by a lot, huh?
49. Tiffany, your total is 65. So the
Hey, man,
difference
you-
there is 16 points. No, it's just 16
Oh.
points. So you got to make sure this next movie has
How
a
many
16
questions
point.
are left?
This is the last one.
Oh,
So-
pressure's on, Tiffany.
Also directed by Ivan Reitman. This is Thank You for Smoking,
Mm.
starring Two-Face himself. Can't remember
Aaron
the actor's name.
Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron
Yes.
Eckhart. Eckhart?
Aaron Eckhart. Yep.
I've never seen this movie.
So since Rob is
Oh,
in the lead,
shit,
he
I
gets
have
to
to
go
go
first.
Wait.
No,
Oh, yes.
No,
Okay.
Rob's in
Yeah.
the lead. He gets to go first.
Perfect.
Put your hands so I can see them, Tiffany. You're gonna cheat? And no, I'm just joking. I've
If I
never.
was gonna cheat, I'd be doing much better right now.
I have known nothing about this movie. Do you have a premise? Like,
No premise.
I don't know of this movie at all. I'm just guessing blindly. Then,
Sounds like a you
what's the
problem.
movie about?
Smoking.
I can give you a
Smart
tagline.
ass.
I can give you a tagline. Here, give me one second.
That's all I'm really looking for. A tagline. Yeah.
It's
So-
about like cigarette lobbyists or whatever, isn't it? The cigarette
Thank You
industry.
for Smoking is a satire. That's a hold. That's a review, not a tagline. One sec here. Thank you for
tell us the
smoking.
review.
Thank you for smoking. Go to the IMDb tagline here. A comedy that follows the machinations of big tobacco chief spokesman Nick Naylor, who spins on behalf of cigarettes while trying to remain a role model for his 12-year-old son. So
okay.
Aaron Eckhart basically plays a government lobbyist for the tobacco industry.
Okay. I have a feeling this will probably be a 84%.
All right.
I think
Tiffany?
70.
78.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't matter what you say because Rob
I
has won it
know.
with his guess of 84. The critic score on Thank You for Smoking was 86.
Oh, nice, Rob.
So very good round, Rob. So Rob's total at the end of 5 movies was 51 points, and Tiffany's total was 73 points. But you did get one bang on. So really, it was just the
Yeah.
one. It was really Ghostbusters 2 that sunk you, which was a surprise, right? Going from 97 down to 53.
Well, I remember that movie. That's like,
I love that movie so much.
Ghostbusters 2 is still great, but yeah, I don't think it's half as good as the first one.
No, it's not.
It's still pretty good. Anyways, that's the Rotten Tomatoes game. Rob, you are the winner for this week. Congratulations.
Nice.
Your prize is in the mail.
More baby food.
We got more baby food on the
A
way.
lifetime supply of baby
A
food
lifetime supply of Korean baby food.
for the baby man.
Sweet potato. Hey, I'm not sure I want that moniker. Scratch
Aw.
that from the record.
All right. So with that being said, we are going to be going into spoiler territory from this moment forward. So if you haven't seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, feel free to go watch it and come back and join us afterwards. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple seconds. All right, so Ghostbusters Afterlife, full spoilers from this point forward. Rob, what did you want to talk about?
What do
Anything
you
in
really
particular?
think, Rob?
What did
tell us
I really think?
Tell us what you thought without worrying about giving things away.
There was a lot of stuff that was just like happened. Like one thing that caught me off was the initial trap that Spangler left in a puzzle piece in the floor. And there's like, yeah, we can't let anybody get access to it. But then we saw a ghost later on that was literally eating steel components and metal. So, I mean, it wouldn't really have mattered to protect it from a ghost, because the ghost, if that's the case, that ghost could have just chewed through it and this whole story would have never happened. So I was like, okay, I know it was there to kind of illustrate her intelligence in it. It just was like, it was kind of like a scene that didn't feel anything for me.
Well, and the plot was how did it get in the floor when he got attacked by a ghost and he kicked it under the seat and then he died. Theoretically, he had a heart attack, right? So maybe it was Janine. Maybe Janine put it there.
Maybe. I didn't. The music, the callback stuff was great, but I wanted like 50% less of it because when it came on, then I would feel the nostalgia and it would have been more impactful in my mind. That's only my opinion. Other than that, it was a lot of fun. The car, I didn't remember Ecto 1 being that much of a powerhouse. Like he was
after
flying.
All these years.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't even have a license. And he's like, we'll just drive anyways. The cops arrest him, and like it was, you know what was awesome about it? It was an 80s movie made now with all of those cuts and those storytelling that in the 80s they were probably too full of cocaine to like, fuck it, we don't need to write about that. And then you're like, people will just believe it, and they just went with it. That's what this movie was. And it was
fast paced enough. Like the movie was fast paced enough that during the movie you're not sitting there thinking about the plot. But I kind of wish after the fact, you're like, okay, there's a bunch of
I did like Paul Rudd's character, and like watching him is like, what is going on with his character? What is this character going to be? Because I didn't know any spoilers. And then he gets attacked by the dog. I'm like, oh, he's the gatekeeper or he's the keymaster. I'm like, okay, that portion was kind of like crammed into it a little bit. I felt like that portion of the storytelling, the same thing that was like rammed in right at the end of the movie. That's what it felt like. The mom turned into a gatekeeper and he was a keymaster, but there was no lead up to it at all that you felt. It was just like, oh shit, we got to need to bring that into the movie. Let's bring that into the movie now.
Yeah, well, like we were saying, it was almost like the first 3/4 of the movie were like a mystery, and then once the mystery kind of resolved itself, and you're like, oh, okay, they're like their grandpa was a Ghostbuster, and it's
no time for plot.
Zod again or whatever, the same villain,
Zool.
But I really liked how it was like the mine that the steel was mined from for the tower in the original movie. Like there was a lot of really cool.
So I told Ash links. Yeah, I told Ash like, oh, that's the material that they made it in. And she's like, what? And like, so the structure was made of this. And she's like, oh, and then the architect was in the ruins. Like his body was there.
Yeah.
That's the other part is like, oh, the guy who designed the building from the first Ghostbusters is in the ruins here. Like his body's there, but Spengler put the proton packs to keep it from boiling over. But then he knows that's the guy who built it, but he left his body there. Like clearly he's planning to come back, and Spengler just left his body there.
I guess maybe there's more of a risk to disturb him or something. Who knows?
Well, that's why you're left to just guess at it.
If you put your trap there, you think you would somehow like hide it more. I guess the only way to get it down to it was taking that wonky elevator. But like, there's literally an elevator at the top of the shaft that leads to this pit of doom that's just there for anybody to take. Like the town kids goes and like just play on it, right? Arguably, I thought the worst part about the movie was probably the action segments. Like the driving the Ecto 1 and like the remote control RC car and like fighting the big bad guys at the very end. But everything else was perfect. Like all of the comedy and like the mystery and the link between the kids and their grandparents. I thought that was all great. But just the action parts were like pretty unbelievable. Almost like too drawn. Like the part with the remote control car when they're chasing the Slimer alternative monster. The Slimer, not Slimer.
What, Muncher? Chomper?
Yeah, it just went on for like 5 minutes too long. Like it just went on for a little bit too long. But yeah, like we said before, I really liked all the characters. The mom didn't really do anything for me, Carrie Coon. Like she was kind of an annoying character. I didn't think she was just like weird. The mom, yeah, like Finn Wolfhard and
what'd you think of that character?
McKenna Grace's mom.
Yeah, I didn't like the mom at all.
She's a horrible mother.
She was a really bad mother. I just she didn't seem to like her kids. She was just like annoyed by them.
Yeah.
And then also I thought Finn Wolfhard's character could have been so much better. He was kind of useless. He and his girlfriend, like I didn't care anything about them. McKenna Grace like carried everyone on her shoulders as far as I'm concerned. She was the best character.
For sure.
And Paul Rudd was great. Like Paul Rudd's always great.
Like in the style of those. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. The baseline concept itself was super interesting, like ghost apocalypse. And I didn't even care about all those plot holes. I was like right there with it until like the Stay Puft Men. That was just too much. Yeah. I was just like, this is dumb.
Little cute Stay Puft Men because they can sell those as toys or whatever.
Adorable, but it just like, yeah, like you said, it just like went on for way too long and it was just like too much.
Do you ever notice like the 80s movies had a trope where like the main characters were kids, but they always had a couple of older siblings who were there as well, but they weren't really focused on throughout the movie. They were just there to like kind of carry the weight when the time came. Like you think Goonies and you think all those 80s kids movies.
Yeah.
If Finn Wolfhard and his girlfriend had been treated more like that, like don't focus on his character too much, like flashed him for a few seconds here and there and have him as just the older brother, but really it's about McKenna Grace and podcast. Maybe one other little kid, and then just have these two older kids come in to drive the car and do, and like come in at the very end during like the the climax, like you think Monster Squad with the older brothers, or you think Goonies, that I felt like that was what they were trying to go for, but then they focused too much on Finn Wolfhard's story, and it wasn't that great.
But what was the story? It
was
like
just
he like
him
got a
just
job
liking
and
trying to get this girl. Yeah, he liked the girl,
and everyone was like
and-
making fun of him.
and they
for
spent
being a
half the
loser.
movie focusing on that.
They
It
also
also more
none
like
of it
10%.
Yeah, but they make him like he's a mechanical genius, knows how to fix a car he's never seen. He doesn't have a driver's license. All of a sudden, he's working on a really kind of obscure car, and he's like, he does this, okay, and he just pops a hood, and he's on the. And at one point, I'm like, he's a fucking mechanic. Like,
yes, Rob, there are plot holes.
You have a problem with in a Ghostbusters movie.
I have problems with like that
Plot holes, all plot holes.
No, just a great character, a great actor, and then it is a plot hole, but it's just like they had time to give it a little bit more detail, like you said. I keep forgetting her goddamn name.
McKenna Grace.
McKenna Grace. Just like you said, Jim. Just like you said. Just focus on her. So like they touched the brother and they give a little bit of story, and then they didn't flush any of it out. So you're left with those ridiculous, weird plot holes because they have to get the car running. She's clearly too young to do it herself. She could have. She's intelligent enough. She rebuilt one of the freaking proton packs. So mechanical fixing on a car is child's play to her. So why not have her do that too?
Or how about have just Finn Wolfhard find the car, put the keys in the ignition and go, and then fire it up, and it just like struggles, but it starts up and he goes, oh my God, you still run. And that's it. No popping the hood. No implying that he fixes anything. But again,
we just did a movie. They did that from World War II.
Because it was Finn Wolfhard. He's a
he's a big name right now.
Actor name, even though I think he's overrated. Like you had to give him more time. They had to give him more screen time because of who he is right now, right? Because he's getting that demographic in. Whereas if you'd been like somebody that you just didn't really touch on, remember, like I said, back to these 80s movies, those older brother types would have been played back in the day by like Patrick Swayze and Kiefer Sutherland and like
Josh Brolin.
Right, all these crazy actors, and they're like barely in the movie, but they were still big and popular back then.
That's such a good point. Yeah, I think
I wish they had just done something like that. Get like and make the older brother be like a be a bit of a beefcake, like not freaking Finn Wolfhard.
So scrawny.
Hey, but that's the meta right now.
And because it's who he is, they had to give him more screen time. I just felt like his character could have had the same impact with less time on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What do you guys think of the ghosts? Because we Ghostbusters, you got to talk about the ghosts. So we'll talk about Chomper or Muncher. What is his name? I like that.
Yeah, he was fun.
I yelled out loud when he turned around. He made this cute face, and then like machine gun bullets come running out. I was like, "Oh shit, okay." And then at one point he's in the city, and they're looking at him. He's like, "No, leave me alone." He looks all cute, and then he like rips off the end of the fire hydrant. He's like, and he's a little bastard, and runs away. So
he slowly unscrews it with one hand while looking at it. It's super funny. I caught that on the second watching. Oh, so just like you said, they're in you called it the city, but it's more like a town of like a couple hundred people.
Yeah. Nobody died. Hilarious.
What do you think? Like part of the old Ghostbusters movies was that they took place in New York, in this like massive like metropolis of a city with like ghosts and like people hunting ghosts, and like it was like just accepted. This, they kind of took it away from New York City and put it out in the middle of nowhere, which I thought it made sense for like the fact that it was the mine where the steel came from and they had like ties to it and whatever.
Yeah.
It just, part of the charm of the original movies, I think, was that it was in New York. So I think it would be really cool if somehow they do a sequel and they bring it back to New York.
Jim, I feel like write the script, send it off. It's going to do well.
Let's do it. So yeah, New York. I thought about, you were saying the ghosts. I like the ghosts were all done well. There wasn't a lot of ghosts, but again, I kind of liked that because it focused on the mystery.
I was surprised that was Olivia Wilde playing Zool. I was like,
I didn't even know that.
That's Olivia Wilde. And I was like, wow.
I saw her name, but it was like uncredited beforehand, and then
we're watching it. We're watching
waiting for her.
She looked just like the original Zool.
And we're like, holy crap, that's Olivia Wilde. Like, wow.
Are you a god?
And then make Ray like, Ray, no, don't fuck it up, Ray.
So speaking of ghosts, obviously the original cast comes back into this. So interestingly, and maybe you guys knew this or not, but I actually had no idea that any of them were going to be in this movie.
Really?
I kind of got I got a sense as I'm watching the movie that somebody was going to make a cameo, but it wasn't like, like the Spider-Man type of thing where like it's like the best worst kept secret or the worst best kept secret or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. This was like, I hadn't heard anything about them being in the movie at all, so I just wasn't thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the
when they
only
brought
one
them
I
all
was
back,
supposed to see was Bill Murray. Like I kind of knew Dan Aykroyd would be there, and
Dan Aykroyd is one of the original writers, right?
Winston.
Yeah, Winston. But I mean, like the actor's name, Ernie something.
Oh yeah, you're right. We'll find out.
But You were talking about the ghost. So obviously, Egon Spengler makes a cameo, right, as a ghost because
done really well, actually.
The actual actor who plays him is passed away in real life.
Mhm.
So
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson.
I thought Hudson.
Yeah, his cameo was really Harold Ramey's character cameo was awesome. Like
I got misty-eyed for sure.
Yeah, it definitely brought back the feels for sure. It was really well done.
Yeah, I feel like that's not always done very well, and it's not ever like very believable. But I was like, this is actually like really well, really thoughtful, really tasteful, and it added to everything. It was just great.
Especially when they're all standing beside each other, and
They look over.
Bill Murray's Venkman's like looks. He looks back. He's like, and then you can see a moment of like the sigh. You can see him like pull back and sigh. Like no, they're not crying, but they're damn close, and they're just sitting there to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, you definitely felt like the real actors had a moment filming that scene as well, right?
Yeah, you have to imagine they would for sure.
So I hope there's more. I hope there's another movie.
I'd be interested to see what they're going to do with it. Ernie Hudson's Winston's character brought Ecto 1 back in the post-credit scenes. If you saw that back to the original Firehouse, did you see that?
Yes.
So
I did not stay for the post-credit scenes in the theater, but I did watch the one I rewatched it.
And Janine is in it, so kind of Dan Aykroyd's interest, like the girl who was like, if you watch the original, answered the phone.
That was Rick Moranis's, right?
Rick Moranis's, yeah, that's right.
Why wasn't he in it?
He was the keymaster, right, or the gatekeeper. So they're just different people. So I guess they kind of
didn't he recently get punched in the face in New York or something?
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, like, why wasn't he in the movie, and if it had something to do with that? Because even Susan Sarandon had like a small. I wish she was in it more.
Rick Moranis stopped acting. He doesn't act anymore.
Oh,
he stopped acting at a long time ago.
Oh, because his wife passed away.
His wife passed away, and then he raised his kids, and then that was it. Like he just stopped right after like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever, and then he's just gone. No more.
He's a national treasure.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kids, and
yeah.
So yeah, in the post-credit scene, it implies that that Ernie Hudson's character is like he's wealthy. He's like a business tycoon of some sort. And he rolls up and he's basically purchased the old
the firehouse.
Ghostbusters firehouse.
Yep.
And so he opens the doors and the Ecto 1 pulls in, and then the camera pans over to like where they used to put the ghost traps in the old movies, into that like vault thing in the wall, and it's like flashing red, and there's like an ominous sound, and then it ends.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Jason Reitman would do it again, because wasn't he kind of against making this movie or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Did anyone read anything?
I didn't read up on the backstory of. I mean, there was so much for so long. There was so much talk about doing a Ghostbusters sequel, and like Bill Murray and everybody were all against it.
Yeah,
and I think there was some friction even between like Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray as a result, right? I think Dan Aykroyd always wanted to redo it, and I'm not going. This isn't. This is just me probably incorrectly remembering. But yeah,
no, that sounds right to me. I think that's why I was surprised to see Bill Murray, because I'd also heard in the past that he said he wouldn't do it, but I'm assuming like because they had Jason Reitman do it, he probably.
And I think he had clarified at times that if the script was right, like if there was a way to do it that he felt compelled to do it, he would do it, but it wasn't like something he was seeking to do.
Yeah, he didn't need to do it for sure.
Yeah, but I'm there for another one.
If they do it, the one thing I would hope they do, and you touched on it a little bit, Jim, in the one in New York, the Ghostbusters, it certainly felt like there was more impending doom or consequences for the more ghosts coming up. And it made it feel more serious. Whereas this, they talk about a ghost apocalypse, but you never once felt, in my experience when I watched this, that the same way in the first one,
anybody's in danger.
Like the world was in danger at all.
Yeah,
it felt very disconnected, and they showed a couple of ghosts. It's cool, but they didn't do anything to make you get nervous about this event happening. Whereas in the first Ghostbusters, and in Ghostbusters 2, sort of, they made you feel like this was a really big not biblical, like religious thing, but something bad was really coming just around the corner.
Disaster of biblical proportions.
Yeah, it made it believable.
The fact that they've alluded that if there's a sequel, it's going to go back to New York because of that post-credit scene, then that's the right.
I don't think they'll go darker with it because it's kids stuff. But I was really surprised actually for that guy getting ripped in half. That surprised the shit out of me.
The guy getting ripped in half, and then when the keymaster and the gatekeeper turn into the dogs.
Yeah,
they scared. That's when they scared my youngest for sure, because they like
the rip in half is like
they have some jump out scares for sure, right? That are like you're like, oh wow, that's didn't really fit the tone of the preceding couple hours.
Yeah, exactly. Being ripped in half in the detail was like the thing, or like the Crypt Keeper kind of like gore and violence, and there was nothing like that in the whole movie. So I yelled out loud, so I was like, holy shit, like why? Like why'd you gotta go that far? You didn't need wow. I was just like, the fuck just happened?
Yeah, it was pretty unexpected for sure. But at least it was fast. It was like on screen, off screen like that.
Human zipper.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything further to?
Nope.
No, I'm good. So
All right,
it was
we've given our reviews.
fun
If you
movie.
like Ghostbusters, go see it. If you disagree with anything we said or think we missed anything, comment down below. Otherwise, we will catch you in the next one.
All right. See you guys.
Have a good week.